Mate, how I wanted to ask or start this podcast was asking you, what's something that you've eaten recently or that comes to the dome that you're like, gee, that's underrated? Doesn't get the glory it deserves? You know what I mean?
That is such a difficult question. Tough to answer because I've eaten a lot of good things recently. And I feel like I give food the respect it deserves by and large. Do you know what? I think the humble chip, not the not potato chips, like the hot chips, like for you non-Aussies listening and watching, which we know there's thousands. It's just like I don't know what do they call it?
Fries? Crisps, fries? I know
they call it crisps. Crisps for them are like packet of chips.
Yep.
I'm talking like thick cut chippies. Because there's a shortage in Australia at the moment. And in the great words of, pretty sure this was in some Bible passage, maybe John the Baptist said it, you don't really know what you got until it's gone. It's funny. It's funny, mate. I'm going on a tangent here now. Fucking hell. So working in the city, every lunchtime, like clockwork. So occasionally I'll go down to Woolies just to get myself a couple of things to make up for maybe that day's lunch or maybe a couple of lunches in a row, right? You know, maybe a couple of cans of tuna, some salad stuff, you know, maybe some wraps, etc. And like clockwork, there's the hot food section, which has a massive lineup of what quite clearly are government workers, mate. And you can smell and see government workers from a mile away. With all due respect.
What gives one away?
With all due respect to our drifters who may work for the government. Just the attire. A lot of them wear lanyards. So they've got the lanyard with like their pass to get into whatever gov building they work in. And plus they're in that line. And you know there's a high chance if they're in that line. Now let me talk you through what's on offer in the line.
Please do.
You got a quarter roast chook for $3.
It's good value, that.
And then you can get some hot chippies for $3. And you can smother them in salt, and I'm sure it can like sacks of table salt, gravy. If you choose. They have chicken chippies, sweet potato chips, and like chicken tenders that you can get, right? All cheap options. And quite often recently, there hasn't been chips on offer because of a shortage, and there's a sign just saying, sorry, due to supply issues, no chips. Guess what? Not a single person to be seen in line. Not a single person. I'll breeze right up there, get me quarter chook, go get myself some salad. It's hilarious. So that's the effect of hot chips. So this is a roundabout way of telling you, I think a good hot chip is incredibly underrated. What are your thoughts?
Thank you for that.
It's just
big story.
It's just an observation that's led to, there was no punchline. I'm sorry, drifters.
No, that's fine. I think chips are accurately rated. But I am going to talk to you about a certain potato chip, a crisp. Mate, I had a cylinder of Pringles.
So good, are they?
Mate, they are sensational.
What flavour?
Just a Ridge.
Yeah, Ridge is good. I like sour cream and onion.
Oh, yeah.
Mate, but what I like with Pringles is getting like a big chunk.
Bruh.
Just get a big chunk, not one at a time.
No, who's doing that?
No, we're not flaccid, that's for sure. We're throbbing when it comes to Pringles, mate. And we're just getting a big chunk and just that texture.
I don't know.
Salivating.
I don't know what that aftertaste of Pringles is, but You don't taste that with a Red Rock Deli. You don't get that with like a Sandboy or whatever. It's as unique to Pringles.
You are right. What alarms me about Pringles is the consistency of the shape. What have they done to get that consistent shape? Where are they growing the potatoes?
I don't think they're growing potatoes.
Bioengineered potatoes.
You know Deb at it's like that a powdered mashed potato that you get.
Yeah,
it's probably made out of that.
I think it's probably made out of that, mate.
You know?
We'll have to do some. It's got to be an investigation into Pringles.
But I think Pringles are criminally underrated.
They are, mate. They're a great snack, and there's nothing better than at the end where there's a few crumbled ones at the bottom. Just go bang, sculling it almost.
Of course you are.
Yeah, chips. How good are they?
Very, very good. 4 Group 1s over 2 days, 3 different meetings. There's a bit to get through. There is a ton of listed group races on the undercard. So let's get cracking in, mate. Let's start at the Valley Friday night. The William Reid kind of makes sense, right? 1,200 metres away for age.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you see the contest?
A little bit tricky, I think. But I'm starting at Imperatriz. Took a Herculean effort by Artorias to run over the top of her in the Canterbury Stakes. That was 1,300 metres. She comes back to 1,200 metres here. Mm-hmm. Sharp turning track of the Valley. What I think about her, and I'll see what your thoughts are on this theory, is that she wants a sprint race that's really high pressure, and she can just sit off the pace and then pounce and put them to the sword. Mm-hmm. I don't think the Canterbury Stakes was incredibly high pressure. She might have found herself maybe getting to the lead a bit too early and gave Artorias just enough time to get over the top of her and needed every single inch of that 1,300 metres. So she's the obvious starting point for me. I think $3.70 with Neds is a fair price.
I think it's a generous price.
You think so?
Yeah, 100%.
I think just off that last run, if you're looking at her last run in New Zealand, yeah, that is a generous price. But off that last run, only beaten by Artorias, to be fair, but I think $3.70 is about fair. Because there's a couple other horses in this race, man, who are proven Group 1 performers. Have they done that recently though? What do you reckon?
No. I found it quite a difficult race. She's my on top selection, so I'm kind of like just that's where my starting point. Aussie Opie taking the ride. He knows this mare back to front. I thought her last run was the thing about Artorias is that you can never see him coming. He runs that last 50 so bloody quick. It's like, and that's why he dive bombs a few. So I feel like she's so consistent and so bloody good that $3.70 I think is a really generous price. I'm really, really stoked about that. I agree. Sit off the speed. Maybe midfield. I think she'll be in that right pattern, I guess, in terms of race shape. There's a few very fast horses here.
Now there's going to be so much pressure up front.
So a horse that has been the bridesmaid, never the bride, against Imperatriz is Babylon Berlin. Mm-hmm. Very difficult name to pronounce. It's only won once, I think, in the last 12 months, and it's raced 8 times, but it's been runner-up 4 times. So it's really, really consistent. And she's going up against the likes of Levante and Imperatriz each week, and she's running pretty bloody well. She stepped back to Group 3 level a couple of weeks ago, and she blew that field away.
Spanked them
by 7 lengths at Winks odds. So you'd hope to see something like that. Blake Shin takes the ride. So she'll be right up there from a really soft draw. In the Congo's been fascinating. They are scratching this thing from every race, seemingly, that they're accepting in. First up here, no idea. No, I have to risk him. He hasn't really been the same as an older horse. And then you have Front Page, who's pretty good in the new market, but you're getting $20 again. You're not running into any In Secrets or Buenos Noches or I Wish I Wins Here. So he's probably a little bit over the odds. But the one who lands on speed, who I think is a fantastic chance as well, is Jigsaw. Yeah, he's a bit of a funny one, Jigsaw. Early days, he's probably remembered as his early days as like a two-year-old and probably an early season 3-year-old, where he's like going around at pretty short prices and then just doing not much. Mate, last 12 months, 10 starts, 6 wins. One of them being the Australia Stakes, which he won. He spanked that field, albeit being a pretty slow field.
Still spanked him.
I think Rabi might have done the exact same thing in the Australia Stakes. So it's a pretty good form reference for a race like this. I think Jigsaw's right in the game here. The horse who we haven't talked about, who I think is well over the odds, is number 3, King of Sparta. He was the first home of the heavier weighted horses in the Oakley Plate. And I wanted to risk him that day just because he's better suited out to 1200 and further. He gets that here. I think he's better suited way for age. I think he can run a race if they can run on 100%.
Yeah, sucker chances. Rail's true, and Mooney Valley, yeah, typically you want to be leading or, first third of the field. So, yeah, good point about Jigsaw. He's jumping out of his skin the last 12 months. Buckets more. Knows how to win in Group 1 around the valley. Mm-hmm. That's for certain. So, yeah, wouldn't surprise. Bit of a left of field horse. I don't think she runs here. I think she'll take the easier option the next day down the Flemington Straight. But big fan of this girl, number 14, Benedetta.
Yeah, don't take it here.
Yeah, please. Don't take it here. But she's drawn. She's drawn sticky. If for whatever reason they do decide to run here, I'd be shocked. But I'm not letting her go around without a little bit of my cash, to be honest.
Stable have said more than likely going to run at Flemington. So I think you can pretty much guarantee that they'll scratch it here.
100%. Great point you made about Babylon Berlin. Had a great gallop this week. So she wouldn't surprise. And my guy, Paul Laley, bit of an enigma, Paul Laley. He's only had one go at Mooney Valley, and that was the race that was the Manicato where Ballot Nipotina spanked him. Yeah. He just did not want to be there that day for whatever reason, Paul Laley. Breathtaking win in the Winterbottom. His best goes very close, but he'll need a lot of favours from the wide gate. But if there is a stack of pace up front, Rail's true. Might suit a swooper like Paul Laley. So, yeah, I wouldn't be absolutely shocked if he won at $19 with Neds. Look out. How are you playing it? Where are you spending your cash?
Before we do that, the horse that we haven't talked about is A Case of You for Price Kent Jr.
Yes, the import.
Dual Group 1 winning import. Found it really difficult to line it up. The form reference that you can basically line them up actually is the Platinum Jubilee Stakes. So Artorias ran 3rd there over at Ascot, probably the making of him, to be honest. A Case of You finished 12th. So, by about 6 lengths behind.
His form's been indifferent for the last, 6-12 months or something like that. So, yeah, for me, got to watch him go around.
Yeah, for sure. His trials or jump outs, whatever they call them in Victoria, have been pretty decent. Not too bad. But yeah, he's a Group 1 winner in Dubai and Paris. Like, he's a dual, country Group 1 winning entire. I could be ready to go here, but yes, I agree. I'm gonna risk $10 on King of Sparta, as mentioned, heaviest horse home first in the Oakley Plate. $20 on Jigsaw, just in case he's just in a rare vein of form. $60 on Imperatriz, because she's the best horse in the race. And then $10 on Babylon Berlin, just in case.
Yep. Seeing the race pretty similarly, mate. I've got, assuming Benedetta's not here, $80 on Imperatriz to win, 10 on Babylon Berlin, and 10 on my guy, Paul Laley. But if Benedetta's in the race, I'll sub out those 2 tenors. Put on her. But yeah, doubtful.
Lovely. Okay. 1 down, 3 to go. Flemington, the Australia Cup, weight for age, 2,000 metres. I found this really difficult. I don't know about you. Nonconformist was very good first up.
Mm.
And they're not, I don't think they're prepping him towards another Caulfield Cup because that's basically what they've done the last 2 years. And that's why his record's so, not poor, but like, you know, he's been aimed towards one race for the entire year for the last 2 years.
Yeah. He was brilliant resuming, probably the best he's ever gone first up. He had a race pattern to suit, but drawn a little bit sticky here. I'm not too concerned though. Flemington, mate, I'm filthy in this race. And I'll tell you why. Because there's a horse that didn't make the field, which is absolutely unbelievable, that would have had most of mine. It's number 18, Campionessa. Mate, Kiwi horse, ran second to Prowess last start in Group 1. Ran second to Sharp and Smart in another Group 1 over there. Incredibly consistent Group 1 horse over in New Zealand. Yeah, New Zealand form versus Australian form, whatever. $16 with Neds to find out. Mate, she would have had a lot of mine, and she's not even in the bloody race because of the way that they structure the weight for age races. In Victoria is when there's too many horses in the final acceptances when they're designating it, they basically go on prize money, but it's prize money from a singular race in the last 12 months. And if a horse has picked up more than $90,000 in a single race in the last 12 months, then they get precedence. Campionessa hasn't done that because she's racing in New Zealand.
She's racing for pennies.
Exactly. Whereas Yaffet and Virtuous Circle have.
Yaffet.
So even though they rate 20, 30 points lower or whatever it is, they've made the field over her. So yeah, I'm incredibly dirty. If there's scratchings in this race, she's mine on top selection, quite clearly, Campionessa. But so now I've had to look at other bloody ponies because she might not race. Mate, is there any speed in this race? What do you reckon?
None.
No speed.
Zero.
So what happens then to your likes of your Cascadian who goes back, your bloody Steinem who's not going to be leading, to, you know, your all your other ponies who need pace on? What's going to happen to them?
You hope. That's what you do. You sit and you hope. I have no idea, mate. What do you do? Like, El Patroness probably injects a little bit of speed. Spoken Romans, yes. Marucciano or Maruccino.
Maraschino.
And Numerian. But I don't think they're... Maybe El Patroness is the leader of those and the Rooch.
Maraschino last start went nuts out front.
Yeah, he did.
So is that going to happen again?
I don't know. I'm not the trainer. I'm not the jock. But I think $71 is unders. I just landed on, all right, Cascadian. So he's probably, fair to say, the best horse in the race, right?
You could argue that Cascadian's the best horse in the race, yeah.
And I think he's probably been unfairly touted as like a hard horse to catch by us this week with the good people at Ned's. But like, he's got a winning strike rate of 22%. Like, that's pretty high. That's pretty good. If you owned a horse like that, you'd be stoked.
Yeah, places half the time, and you made a point. He's nearly raced 50 times, and more than half of them have been in Group 1s.
Yeah. So, like, what else can he do?
Nothing else.
No. What I will say is I think it's going to be a pretty hard deck at Flemington on the weekend, and I think he is better suited with a bit of give in the ground. And I've heard some very good judges on SEN during the week talking about the quick backup.
Mm-hmm.
So he's run well on the quick backup. I think he ran... it would have been placing because he didn't win the Cantala, but that's typically a pretty strongly run race. And then he backed up into the McKinnon, and I think he finished second behind Zaki. So, but what I've heard about the quick backup, and it's actually kind of made a lot of sense to me. So you look at Golden Slipper, right? Different age group and comparison, but so be it. Shinzo did not run the time that Steel City did.
No.
But he had enough of a gut bust to be like cherry ripe and heading into the slipper. The exact same thing happened when Kiyomichi won the slipper. She, against the boys the same day, she ran such inferior time. and she absolutely spanked him in, what was a very wet slipper, albeit. That All-Star Mile was frantic. Like the pace that they ran there. I'm risking Cascadian just because the dry track and the quick back up off like what was a very, very fiercely run race.
100%, mate. And that suited him. We said it on the review podcast that the race was super quick up front. There was so much pressure that it allowed the inevitable to swoop. It was perfect for Mr. Brightside because he was the closest one to the leaders, right? So the frenetic pace, brought out the athleticism of those horses. There's no pace in this race, mate.
No.
There's no pace. So you want... I just don't think they're going to go fast enough to allow a horse like Cascadian from barrier 11, who he's going to be in the back 3 or 4, mate.
Mm-hmm.
I can't at that price, $4.20 with Neds. I can't back that with confidence, even though he's probably the best horse in the race.
Yeah, I agree.
So that mate, it leaves me still like with absolutely no clue who to back in this race. Like I know we're supposed to be like, hey drifters, like this is what we reckon, and probably go in the opposite direction. But I have no clear opinion of this race. Like Mwanga, barrier 15, like. He was disappointing last start. Where's he go to from that barrier? Like on the quick backup? Like is this just an afterthought? Like what do you reckon?
You know what I think about Moanga is what we learnt about him. I think he's got a bit of the young Werters about him, where he'll run third against Animo and Fangirl, but he'll also run third in a benchmark 78. Like he's forgotten how to win, and like. He's a funny horse ride. He looked like he was going to finish last week. And then he picked up again. He actually ran into the placings unbelievably. But Barry 15, nah. I think there's 3 horses that you can back in the race and still turn a profit. That's number 4, Nonconformist. That first up run was too good. Have to have him on side. 2,000 metres, I think, is in his sweet spot. So if he is somewhere near midfield with a race devoid of or void of speed, he'll be in the finish. The other 2 are Steinem. That first up run was too good. And, I like that there's been a little bit of a break between runs there as well. And she was first up over 1,800 metres there. So I think there's a bit of intention there. And the stable have openly said that she is their number 1 pick.
Yep.
So who am I to judge at $11? The third one, nearly my on-top selection, is number 15, Bankmore, on the quick backup. So the exact opposite of Cascadian, absolutely crawled in that race last week. And as I kind of like learnt about his profile, I reckon he'll sit in the top 4 here. He's drawn a bit of a barrier. I reckon he's right in the game. I think 2,000 metres kind of looks like his kind of trip. And through the line, he was strong too.
Yeah, I agree with you, mate. Like you can't... He couldn't have run any faster last week because they were absolutely walking. And what I like about him in this race, and I'm glad that you're talking about him because he's in my numbers as well, is he's lightly raced compared to a lot of these. So there's upside there and there's untapped potential there. Whereas a lot of these, we know the best possible run from a Cascadian is winning probably a subpar Group 1, but there needs to be all the favours in the run. We know that about Cascadian. Nonconformist, could he win this? Yes, he could, but only because it's a subpar Group 1. Like we know a lot about these other horses, and we're looking for who's going to be the one to turn up on the day. Whereas you look at your Bankmores and the likes of your Virtuous Circles, they're untapped. Like this is going to be Bankmore's 10th start. It's going to be Virtuous Circle's 7th start. I think there's a lot more upside for both of those ponies, which is why... And we've seen it time and time again, mate. The 3-year-olds are putting some of these older ponies to the sword in the Group 1s.
Yep. Look at Bankmore. I think he's probably been unfairly judged, as I think we also said on the review podcast. But, mate, he lost a nose to Jacquinot first up. He ran below market expectations as favourite in the CS Hayes, but he was only beaten at 1.5 lengths. He then runs a ripping race in the Australian Guineas into 4th, beaten less than 1.5 lengths, and then he wins next start. Like, he's super consistent.
Yeah.
And I think his racing pattern is very much like those rolling along Japanese horse like his sire. Like, I think he just loves to do the hard work out in front.
Good.
I think he'll do it.
Good.
You know what? He is my on top selection. Fuck it. Why not?
Yeah. Mate, he's going to be mine as well because of that exact reason, because of the upside. And I was tossing up between him and Virtuous Circle just because. Just because of that upside. Virtuous Circle, though, has just been poorer this prep. He's got form around Barclay Square. Ran second to him in the Mooney Valley Vars in the spring. Form around Tijuana in a Group 2. Look, he wasn't too far away in that bunched Australian Guineas, and he ran second last to Glint of Silver over 1,400 metres, which is nowhere near his go. So, he's in my numbers too. I'm just pissed off because I want to whack Campionessa if she's in this race. She's my clear on top selection if she runs. So I'll run through my numbers and my betting strategy. So if Campionessa's in, 50 each way. Like, that's my only bet in the race. If she's not, 25 on Virtuous Circle, 25 on Bankmore, 25 on Steinem, and 25 on Nonconformist because I have absolutely no idea.
Yep. 50 on Bankmore, 25 on Steinem, 25 on Nonconformist.
Yep.
All right, we head up to Sydney for the Vinery. Now, this is a race in 2 ponies. For mine, what do you think?
I tend to agree. Yeah, I'm a fan of Call Die, but she was 4.5 lengths off Pavitra in that last run, and I can't back her with confidence in this race. And she's $7 with Neds, and I think the odds reflect that. But no, I tend to agree. I think it's a race in 2. Prowess and Pavitra, number 1, number 3. Are you sticking with your girl?
100% I am. I've actually found a good horse for once. She's one of mine, especially if the rain stays away in Sydney. If they're racing on a good track, the Freemans have said they would not trade her for another horse in the race. Why would you? Man, she absolutely blew away that field. And I'm trying to look at Prowess as well. I'm like, how does this thing get beat? Well, she's had a pretty taxing prep. She's been running in races, not just like trials and that sort of thing, since like the 1st of January. Like, that's a pretty taxing prep. Like, I do concede Pavitra has been doing trials since about mid-January, but trials and race day are different gravy, especially from what I heard Will Freeman was saying about this thing, is that she used to be a really good trainer, but then she's trained off. Some of the best is absolutely terrible trainers.
Yeah.
But what I think she does is she saves it for race day, which is what I love to hear. There's 2 bets that you have in this race. One is on Pavitra, $100 on the nose, because she'll just be winning this. There's no speed in the race. Barrier 9, not too concerned. She'll just find the right spot and she'll control this from the front. She wants further. 2,000 metres is absolutely in her wheelhouse against her own age. She'll be putting these away, I think. And then you have a bet on her in the Caulfield Cup. That's what you do.
Yeah. Real VE type.
Yep.
Obviously, she's not very elegant, but yeah, mate. Look, I tend to think that Pavitra will be incredibly hard to beat in this race, but no, I'm going to go in the way of the Kiwi filly Prowess because of that Campionessa push that I gave her for. Can't be so keen on her and not be keen on the horse that just beat her. 2,000 metres is her limit though. Yes. So she's a miler, I think, but can do the 2,000 metres against her own sex. She has been up for a long time, but she just keeps winning. She keeps winning, so she's a horse who knows how to win. So yeah, Prowess is the one on top for me, but I don't want to lose on the race if Pavitra wins because based on that last start, mate, she could just put him to the sword. I think Prowess will sit just behind her, but Pavitra could very well lead the whole way. I've got 60 on Prowess and I've got 40 on Pavitra.
Well played. The thing about Prowess as well, which she did against the older mares as well.
100%,
which I'd love to see.
And I think you could question the form of the the Group 1 race over in New Zealand, particularly the one that she just won. You can question that. But this is no stellar field This is no stellar field. You know what I mean?
Like, she started $1.60 favourite against Light Creek and Campionessa.
That's
like, it's sensational form in my book.
Yeah, that's what I mean though. Like, that's the typical query on Kiwis coming over is that form as good as ours? It's like, well, that's redundant because this isn't a weight for age Group 1 against Animo and Fangirl and the likes of. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. If there is a roughie in the race that I think you want to back heading into the Oaks, it is number 9, So Dazzling. He's placed second, but mate, I don't understand this, right? Cool died in the arse.
Yeah.
At the end of that race, she's $17 with Neds. So Dazzling beat her home easily. Once further, $34.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I noticed that today as well, and I thought that was bizarre.
Your Ned same race multis and your trifectas, 100%. Go the 2 favourites and her.
Fireburn.
Mm-hmm.
Gets out to 2,000 metres for the first time. Mm-hmm. If she fails in this race, do you think what do you do with her?
She was pretty good in the
She was pretty good.
Taking on the boys, back to her own sex here. She was only 2.5 lengths off Zugotcha. And if there is some cut in the ground, that will obviously suit her. I think it's too early to pull the pin for her. I think because she is starting to regain some of that good form. It's just, she was the elite 2-year-old. She's not the elite 3-year-old. So, but happy to risk her. Okay. Last one. Tancred. Shit. I found this difficult.
This is hard as well. Mate. Yeah. Again, I'm looking at this race and I'll probably see more speed than I do in the Australia Cup, but not by much. There's a clear leader in Knight's Order in this race, and then you probably got King Frankel, Sir Lucan going forward. Arapaho likes to go pretty forward. Mm-hmm. But yeah, when it's another one of these sit and sprint Group 1s, even over 2,400 metres, I worry for horses that'll be too far back.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the time. I said that about Gold Trip last week. He's on the quick backup here. He's on the quick backup from a Cox Plate into a Melbourne Carbon. We saw what happened. Mm. If there is a bit of rain around, does he come right into the race?
Yes, mate. Of course he does.
Mm.
He ran, Cox Plate, 9 days later. He won a Melbourne Cup.
Yeah.
So, yeah, of course he does.
Yeah. So you got to look at Gold Trip and you got to respect him. He weight for age over 2,400 metres. Like that's just right in his wheelhouse, isn't it? So he's one of the key ones I was looking at. Montefiore, I backed her last start. She got absolutely spanked by Dubai Honour. Nothing was beating him. But I thought she was pretty good. And I think getting out to 2,400 metres, weight for age suits her as well. Mm-hmm. The last horse I was looking at, after watching the William Haggis train Dubai Honour come from overseas and just give us a whack, I'm looking at the Joseph O'Brien trainer thing, number 9 Cleveland, and they're thinking this thing just wins a Sydney Cup full stop. Do you think he's a winning chance in this?
Nah, mate, he needs
a lot further.
He needs 5 laps.
Mate, I watched a replay of his win over in the UK, which was I think 2 mile, 2 furlong.
Yes,
2 furlongs. So what's that?
3,700 meters.
Yeah, 3,700 meters. And they just build into the race, mate. And he was on the fence, sitting sort of midfield the whole time. And then he started his run home in probably the last sort of 400 to 600 meters, and just got there on the line. Mate, this thing will run for days. I don't know what price he is in the Sydney Cup, but he's going to be hard to beat in that race. Tell you that much for free. I want to have a little spec on him here.
Just in case.
Just in case, yeah. But no, Gold Trip and Montefiore are the two for me. What do you reckon?
This is the best roughie of the weekend, and he's guaranteed to run here this time. And that is, what number is he? Number 6, Explosive Jack. I'll tell you why. Mate, he's been calling out for this ground all prep. Now, they didn't run him in Sydney last start. They scratched him and they ran him in the Canberra Cup instead, where Arapaho, all honours to him. But he was also, Arapaho had the run of the race there. Explosive Jack was doing it the hard way from the back. Now, a few weeks ago, David Eustace said, what this thing needs is blinkers. So his pattern, you look through his pattern, and it's all of his form in all of these races. So many of them are just like prep up runs. Mean nothing. Put a line through them. Like, he's going to be losing them. I think of all these horses here, like, all right, Gold Trip, Sydney Cup, Knights Order, same, Bound to Clare, he's been good, but Stockman, same, Arapaho, same, Explosive Jack, his ultimate aim is the Sydney Cup as well. But all of these want further. Like, the only one that you could probably argue is Montefilia. And it's always been the plan with her to back up from
which I like.
Yeah, from the Ram Vet. But big Jack, mate, I've been foaming at the mouth over everything he's been doing this prep.
Jeez, he's been exploding in the mouth for him.
All right, how's this for some maths? 6.6 lengths he lost first up. He took 3 lengths off that, so 3.6.
So I'd say that's an improvement.
Mate, he's halved that again to 1.4. I think he just goes one further. And he wins this race. Blinkers on is the big thing, because they were basically saying when this thing gets blinkers on, he's a different horse. So if he's doing that without blinkers, he's been sensational. 100 metres past the post, he's been up eyeballing Arapaho, who's a decent stayer. I can't see how he misses the top 3 here.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
I think I'm so confident in this. Sometimes you just have to trust your eye. And I've really, really loved what he's been doing at the end of his races.
Yeah.
I think there's some intent here.
Yeah. Look, if that's what you think, then you got to follow your gut. I for one didn't give him a second of form. I scrolled right past him. Didn't even give him one iota of thought. So if he wins, full credit to you, mate.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll be incredibly well found by you. That'd be straight into the bloody the intro. An Explosive Jack down the outside. Yes, gets to the Group 1. That'd be his third, wouldn't it?
He's the Derby King. He's won a few. It would be his third. But if I'm not going to be silly,
I wouldn't expect you to.
He's a 1x3 all day. So 25 on the nose, 75 to place because he's a place price. He's like $7 at the moment.
It's a stupid price.
Like, if there's a little bit of cut in the ground as well, like he'll
be fine.
He'll be absolutely fine. He'll be cherry ripe.
He'll be fine. Montefilia is going to be a mile on toppy. This was always the plan for her. Others have other things on their mind. I thought she was still good in the Ram, but she was just never going to beat Dubai Honour. And I think the extra 400 metres. She's run a couple of Caulfield Cups, so she wasn't treated awfully well at the weights, and she's always run well. So I'm thinking weight for age, 2,400 metres. Tick. Mm-hmm. Draws well. I think she'll be midfield. On toppy, $40 on the Schnozzer, $40 on Gold Trip because he could just win, and then 20 on Cleveland.
Oh. I thought you were going the other male named horse. Jack, not Cleveland.
No, on Cleveland because I don't want to let too many of these Europeans run around without some of mine on it from now on. Just going to pay them the respect they deserve.
I think that's a wise play by you.
I don't know what price he is in the Sydney Cup, but if he wins this, he'll be short.
Yes, he will. All right, we have a ton of other races to get through, so let's get cracking on. The Valley, race 3 is the St. Albans Stakes. Now, we're at a Bucks party a couple of weeks ago, your Bucks party even, and I said to you, boys, hey, My Eustace think that this is their best bet of the weekend. Brave Mead. You all got on and I forgot. And he won by 4.5 lengths. Does he do it again?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brave Mead for me as well, mate. It's a pretty straightforward one.
Yeah. There was one that I didn't mind the look at, a little bit of a price. Hang with me. Number 5, Coast Princess. Pretty sure she beat Brave Mead home last start. So why couldn't she do it again? 2-year-old stable. The Hayes team is absolutely flying. Do it again, boys. Race 5, the Sunline Stakes. I was keen on Revolutionary Miss here. Was only her second win in her career. Goes against the older mares here. But I'm also not that convinced that Mooney Valley is her track. But so be it.
No, yeah, so be it. I'm really keen on Cirilio Miss here. I thought she was brilliant last start. Over the mile at Flemington, just led and they weren't going slow. Well, she wasn't going slow and then she kicked away, brained them. Drawn a little bit sticky, but I think she'll still lead. Cirilio Miss, she'll come across in front of Barbara and in front of Deny Knowledge and $3 with Nads. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, she was. I think if we were talking underrated chippies or underrated food,
She's an underrated horse.
She is. Mate, 35% winning strike rate.
Love to own her. I just love a horse that actually runs, to be honest.
Well said. Race 8 is the Alexandra Stakes, Group 3 for the 3-year-old filly, set weights penalties. I thought Papillion Club was awfully hard to beat here.
Agreed. I'm going to be favourite bashing on Friday night.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Yep. If there is a danger, I think we take 2 in the quaddie, and that's Jenny Jerome.
Agreed.
She had 0 luck last start.
There'll be a quaddie on, that's for sure.
Mate, we'll be at the footy watching the Lions lose, and we'll need a distraction.
100% we will.
All right. Race 2 at Flemington is the Thoroughbred Breeders, Group 3 for the 2-year-old fillies over the 1,200 metres. Any strong opinions here?
No strong opinions, mate. Look, I was looking at Anna Jazar only because the Ben and JD Hayes table is flying. She won her maiden. Mickey D's flying too, so draws well. But yeah, $11 I'll have a little play, but not really.
Dual accepted in that Brave Mead race as well.
Yes.
So Hell Queen ran a pretty nice race behind Mahabra. So back to her own sex here. And Mahabra, some didn't rate that form. I backed him when he lost to Shinzo in the Pago, but he only lost by about a length and a half.
Turns out Shinzo form was and is the best form.
So I think she can get the job done.
Yep.
Hell Queen.
Lovely.
Race 4 is the Bob Hoisted handicap listed. Matt, I was keen on the Bopper here. Why not? I think if any of these are a 1,000-metre horse, it's him. He's a 900-metre horse.
Yeah, the Bopper is. Look, I don't have any particular strong thoughts on this race. I'm a big fan of Djumbuck. Backed him the last 2 starts and he's come home for me. This is a grade above, but, I don't mind him, so Djumbuck for me.
Yeah, a very fine red's a nice mare as well. She could run a nice race at the double figures, so she could be one into your exotics. Race 5 is the Roy Higgins. When you're in the Melbourne Cup, there is a horse that I'm fascinated about here, and that is number 5, Solcombe. Mate, I think he's been primed up, ready, raring to go for this contest.
100% he has. And geez, that price is generous with Neds. If you look at his form overseas, he ran at 2,000 metres a couple times and just didn't do much. He's a genuine stayer. He needs 2,600, 2,400 and above to do his best work. Comes back to the scene of the crime where he blew him away in the Queen Elizabeth Stakes in his first ever run on Australian soil. They're very confident, the stable, that he wins this. It's a pity that Jai McNeil's on board because I can never find him. But no, he's the one for me, $5.50 with Neds. So unusual, been going super. Respect to him. Waterhouse and Bott thing. Goldman was brilliant running in Warwick Farm midweek, but absolutely brained them. But no, if Solcombe's one of the favourites for the Melbourne Cup, need to win this to get in or to confirm that he's going to be in. He's going to be putting these away.
Yeah, I think you've nailed it. I think you've got the 3 fittest horses in the race. Solcombe, just trial after trial, and just lead up runs. I don't think they want his rating to go up. I think they want him in on the minimum. He'll be winning this.
And then probably you won't see him until maybe a race before the Melbourne Cup.
Exactly. So unusual, as you said, super consistent, just keeps winning. But Goldman could have egg on my face here, but this is a big step up. Huge step up. And he'll give Solcombe a bunny to chase, but happy to risk him. I'm really keen on Solcombe in that race for sure. Race 6 is the Sunlights Classic. Wasn't she a good mare? Good filly.
Gotcha.
Listed race, 3-year-old, set weights penalties. I thought this was a little bit. Oh, actually, no, I didn't. I just saw there's two winners in this race.
I see 2 winners. Number 8, What You Need, and number 10, Benedetta.
So you're just going to take, and they're opposite sides. Interesting.
Yep. Interesting. What You Need was brilliant the other week. I was on for sure. He's still a nutcase. What You Need, 3-year-old colt, lightly raced, but no, Benedetta, she's a Group 1 filly in waiting for me. And if she is, she puts these away. I think she does run here too. I was 90 with Ned's. Generous. I've got a high opinion of her, the way she put that field to the sword, mate. That's got class written all over it.
She's good. She's very good. I'm keen on What You Need, though.
Taking her on.
Yeah, What You Need. I'm a believer in... Apparently they didn't run time. So what? Sometimes you just got to back your eye. And I'm an eye guy. Do we have a side bet or something?
Yeah, sure. You declare it because I'm winning.
Like tops off to end the show next week or something?
I don't think anyone wants to see that.
Right, we'll workshop it.
Yep.
Race 8. Apologies. Race 9 maybe, or is that it? Yeah, that's it. Let's go to Sydney TL Ballyou Handicap. Group 3, 1,400 metres, race 2 on the program for the 2-year-olds as well. So you have the B and the C class in both Melbourne and Sydney. I didn't mind the look of Miss Ghent, number 9. Now, she didn't beat much, and the time they ran was far inferior to the Black Oval at Canberra on the same day. But the horse out of that race, the years for Waterhouse Bott, not convinced 1,400 metres is its go. I think this girl will eat it up. And she's got another kilo off because it is a handicap as well. So she's far better suited at the weights. I think she's a good bet at $10.
No bet for me. No interest.
Yeah. The Tulloch Stakes, Group 2 over the 2,000 metres for the 3-year-old colts and geldings. I found this impossible.
So did I. If I was going to have a spec at one, I'd have a spec at number 7, Awesome John. Who's working his way through the field in the far lap last start. I thought he ran okay. The form out of that race, decent.
If you can get the favourite beaten here, $3.50, Full of Serenity. It ran well behind Sharp and Smart, at 2,400 metres. Drops back to 2,000 metres here, and it was a starting price of $90 last start.
Wowee.
So if you're an SP guy or girl, you want to take that thing on for sure. Race 4 is the Neville Selwood, 2,000 metres, Group 3. I was keen on Hueta here.
Hueta.
He was in the Australia Cup nominations as well, and I was actually making a little bit of a case for him in that race. Far easier here. Third up, he's got sensational stats. I think he's been just first two runs here have been just absolute prep runs, and it's been in pretty decent class as well. Yeah, I think he can win this for sure.
I'm with the old boy. Number 5, Sunshine Rising. Again, not a massive fan of the stable. I think he's been racing really well, sort of around pounding, protagonist. I don't like the price about him, $4.20 with Neds, but yeah, he's my bet in that race.
Number 4, Gear Up, has Dubai Honour form, if that's the way you do form.
Sorry, I missed Gear Up. I forgot he was in this race. My apologies, Drifters. If Gear Up was in the Tancred, I would have been keen to have a little spec at him. So yeah, sorry. I'll be having a go at Gear Up here as well. Freshly bought by Annabelle Neesham.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, form around Dubai Honour. Form around Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What was I thinking? Gear Up for me.
I think you might remember Zaki was doing some exhibition gavels at Randwick or whatever it was. Gear Up was the horse that he was running against, pretty sure at the Grey, so you won't miss it. Star Kingdom, 1,200 metres, Group 3. I was keen on one for the very, very good stable of Joe Pride.
Oh, so was I.
Number 9, Coal Crusher.
Yeah, I'm actually really keen on Coal Crusher.
$7 a field this race.
For Jack Pride, yeah.
Unbelievable. Like, I think this is a fantastic betting race, but he was super behind Cannonball. I think he looked gone at 300, found it again. Will be fitted for that. Gets a very nice weight relief against a Thelric who looked plain. Yeah, I reckon barrier 6, he's running the game here.
Yep, I'm with you.
I like that. I like it when we're
strong.
Some solidarity. Race 6, the Emancipation Stakes, 1,500 metres, Group 2 for the fillies and mares. Now, statement.
Yeah,
I think she's got some better credentials than some of her companions here.
I think statement makes one and puts these away.
Going Global is a mare that has won 2 Group 1s, or 1 Group 1 from the United States. How can you possibly line up that form? I have no idea. Races on firm decks over there, so I've zero clue. Her trial was okay. Yeah, barrier 18 probably going to risk.
Same.
But yeah, statement. Makes a statement. I think we have one more. Race 9, the Doncaster Prelude. Any firm opinions here?
Oh, mate, not particularly. Look, I think for me, I'd be looking at Crosstalk as the most likely. The favourite, so it's nothing too interesting. I've been on Waterford the last 2 starts as well, so I probably won't jump off, even though he's drawing the absolute car park. I think Chris Waller's horses like to draw the car park, considering, to be honest though, he's got half the field in this. But yeah, so Waterford I think I'll have a spec at, but yeah, Crosstalk as well. Wouldn't be surprised.
I went with Wellwall, one of the imports from
That's right, who ran the Golden Eagle.
Yeah, so I think he's worth a spec. He finished off the race pretty damn nicely last start. That's it.
That's everything. There's a lot to get through this weekend.
There is.
And some of the worst Group 1 racing I've ever seen in my life. Honestly, mate, like that Australia Cup is disgusting. Like,
what do they do?
Well, it's the first time it's a week after the All-Star Mile. No, yeah, it's just, I could talk about it for hours. It's a filthy race.
Still a few that I like this weekend, though. If you had a best bet this weekend, Benedetta, is that you?
100%, yeah. If she's in that Saturday race, Benedetta.
I'm really keen on Pavitra.
Good.
Yummy. I'm also keen on Solcombe.
Yeah, I'm keen on Solcombe as well.
In the Roy Higgins. And I think Explosive Jack is a fantastic 1x3.
I think Coal Crusher at $7 is a great bet.
I agree.
Dislike the stable, but hopefully it can come through for once.
Hey, if there's a profit to be made,
it is what it is.
Jack could very quickly turn into a Joe again.
Oh, God, yeah.
All right. Best of luck, Drifters. See you later.
Bye.